Welcome to this Aztlander presentation, Color in Maya Hieroglyphs, Subtext and Meaning, with Mark Van Stone, Professor of Art History at Southwestern College, California. Enjoy!
Well, welcome everybody. I I came to epigraphy from the direction of calligraphy, and my specialty in calligraphy was illuminated manuscripts. So I've been involved in color and its use in writing for a long time. And and Egyptian writing, for instance, has very specific colors. You'll notice that the letters that are across the top of this the masthead here, the birds, which is a kite, is represented in natural colors. The letter B is an arm, which is painted red. The foot, which is human being, is also red. The D is also red, and that's an Egyptian convention of color for portraying human skin because they got tanned out there. There's no E in Egyptian because that was the most common sound in the language, and they didn't indicate vowels in general, but specifically, there was no glyph for an E sound because it was so common, ironically. In any case, these colors are pretty conventional. The letter I, which looks like a feather, is not a feather of a green bird. It's actually a flower of a reed, which is green. And like I said, the colors of Egyptian hieroglyphs tend to be pretty conventional and predictable. And the glyphs at the bottom of the page are from a plate that we'll see. Will feature pretty heavily pretty soon in the talk. These are glyphs from a plate in in burial 195 in Tikal, which was the plate was originally fired with an inscription in black and sort of tan color. And then just before it was buried, apparently, they painted over the inscription with a green background and then painted on that colored glyphs in stucco. And these are the stucco glyphs, and the word Yahal there at the bottom, which is has a sign that looks like a moon. The moon is white, and the next glyph is the sun god, and he's red, which is another conventional color. Kawil, the god of abundance, is green with red flames coming out of his torch. And again, these are as predictable as Egyptian colors. And the Kawils, the sculptures of Kawil that you've probably seen made of wood, which were preserved in the same tomb as this plate, were also green or blue grew, I guess you'd call that color. Sacred is really jazzy. It's really interesting. The dots are different colors. There's red dots and yellow dots and green dots, and I guess there's another color there above the red, maybe blue. The cap of that glyph is red for some reason. And the glyph for whatever this rodent is, it's a creature of the night who has a night glyph on his forehead, and he's got red lips. He's got a green ear flare. He's got a green rim around the glyph for darkness on his head, which is pretty common. The sun god also has a green rim around his sun god glyph, and the caps of things like the cap of this character, the cap of the Kawil, the cap of this rodent, and the cap of the Tikal emblem glyph are all painted green. And this is a convention that's pretty standard. We'll talk about the convention of the red stripe down the middle of the glyph, which appears here, 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 and there, which is a sort of unexpected. Let's see if I get to the next slide. There we go. This is an Egyptian coffin in in the Boston Museum, the coffin of Jehudi Nacht, and it has text in three levels of complexity. The top text, which is a very detailed and very large glyphs, are painted pretty naturally. You see the natural colors, the serpent with its little individual scales, the twisted rope looking like a twisted rope. The letter N, they paint black in this case. It's sometimes blue, sometimes green as well. And because ultimately it comes from a picture of water, probably the most common color in Egyptian hieroglyphs for the water glyph is blue. And again, in the smaller glyphs down here, body parts are red, arms and the legs. For some reason, the loaf, which is presumably a loaf of bread, is often green, and the others have conventional colors. That's the letter P, which is what should I say? It's a door. It's kind of brown colored, like the background here. This is another piece of that same coffin. I think it's the end panel. And again, the large glyphs on the top, highly detailed. I think we just saw this. No, didn't see that area. Anyway, the large glyphs are highly detailed and painted naturally. The smaller glyphs are still pretty natural colors. This is the name Osiris with a chair and an eyeball. Then there's a table full of offerings, again, painted naturally. And then the text down here, which is literally just barely detailed. It's really simple glyphs, quite small. The long text is at the bottom is not colored at all. Of course, it's typical Egyptian. Another close up of the same levels of density here. The letter N is painted with this deep blue. The twisted rope here is white. The letter, interesting, this letter I or Y, which is 2 reed flowers, by all rights should be green, but for some reason they're black with white strands on it. The loaf of bread, again, is a loaf of whatever it is blue. And next here. These are 2 texts from Egypt. This is King Tut's name in cartouche. The cartouche is blue. Again, that's a sandal strap. Doesn't seem to be a natural color, but the letter T is blue. The letter U is blue. The other letter T is blue. And there's the Ankh, which is also blue in this particular thing. With this gold background is probably the golden miniature coffins, which were used for canopic jars for the different organs of his body. Anyway, this is interesting. This spelling of his name is Tut Ankh, and this is Aten. This is the name he had before he converted to away from his father's religion that worshipped. His father was Akhenaten, worshiping the single sun god of the sunset, and his name is usually spelled Tutankhamun in his grave goods, but this particular one was made before he changed his name. Let's see. There we go. So Tut, T-U-T, Ankh, with an N and a Ch, phonetic complement after it. And then because the god's name always goes first, even if it's pronounced last, it says Aten, Tut, Ankh. And this is a glyph for gold underneath the cartouche. If you learn the Egyptian alphabet, you'll be able to read a lot of most inscriptions, because probably 50%, sometimes as many as 70% of the glyphs present on any Egyptian inscription are just those 40 letters that you think of as the Egyptian alphabet. The little blue quail chick, the little blue loaf that is the T. There's another quail chick. The owl is the letter M. I don't know why I didn't label it here, but this is another N. This is Neter, which is a sacred, what you call it, eponym. It's one of the it means, you see it in king's names. And this glyph is cut off on the top. The red X on the blue background is the glyph for city. That's a crossroads inside a circle. And these glyphs are so standardized in Egyptian inscriptions that you can buy a postcard on the street in Egypt, in Cairo, with these conventional colors. Again, I'm not sure what this is representing, but it's the same color as skin. This is supposed to be a stand for a lamp or something like that, and that's also red. The door bolt is red. I guess that's a color of wood. The R is a mouth. Q is supposed to be a hill. This is an interesting P, which is I'm not sure if this is an actual color they got off of an inscription or not. But baskets, they tend to checkerboard like this. The Z is wood, is a door bolt. This is a loop of rope. I'm not sure why it's green, but so these are 2 inscriptions with some color in them in Egyptian. This is, again, a canopic jar, a canopic vessel that's a miniature coffin. Um, I remember when the Boston Museum put this, they had a King Tut traveling show after the very first one that went around in the 1970s, the first blockbuster exhibition. And they had that, oops, they had this object um, on their poster. Everybody expected to see his coffin, but it was a canopic coffin. And you can see again the same colors we saw close up. This is a wooden sarcophagus of a Ptolemaic dude named Pet Osiris, and his coffin is dark wood. I'm not sure, it's a brown wood that's been painted black, and inlaid into it was all these little tiny glass hieroglyphs. Let's see, do I have a? There's a close up of it. Little tiny, beautiful little jewels of inlaid glass. And again, the plant things are green. Let's see, we have some color here. Um, so human skin and the folded cloth and the sun are red. The scribal kit is multicolored. Where is it? Oh, this is a scribal kit. The tube for holding pens, the water jar, which is blue, and then the tablet itself is painted brown. I guess they made it out of wood. Baskets are checkerboarded. The snakes are green. The horned viper, which is letter F, and reeds, which is a letter I or Y. In this case, this is Set, I think. I forget. Anyway, this is one of the reeds that represents Lower Egypt, and so again, this is the way that the standard colors were used in Egypt. I should mention, by the way, that this is the color that the Egyptian monuments had as recently as 200 years ago. This is the Temple of Philae, which is pretty much barren of color. Maybe some of the ceiling has been protected from the weather. The Temple of Philae was repeatedly flooded up to about 2 feet off the floor for many centuries after, well, not many decades after they built the low Aswan Dam. But that's the color that you could find in 1838 when David Roberts did this drawing and engraving. This is also his drawing of the Temple of Karnak, I think, and Luxor maybe. And again, all these colored inscriptions were still the colors were still visible. And a little bit later, Louis Haig did this one in 1842. Fabulous color in these lovely inscriptions, and this is the way that ancient writing in most places was colored. I should mention, by the way, that Egyptians, ancient Egyptians, were not generally literate. Right, the priests were literate, the rulers were literate, the class of scribes was literate, but generally everybody else was not. And that's been true of the world up until like the mid 19th century. So an ancient Egyptian looking at these inscriptions would be just as impressed and mystified as you and I are. You can recognize different signs. You can say, oh, there's a person. Oh, there's an ostrich. There's a guy making an offering. And you can look at the different signs, but they weren't expected to be read. They were written to impress people. And one of the reasons that they're colored and one of the reasons that their sculptural forms are still recognizable is that it made them more appealing to illiterates. So this is the medium is the message. What should I say? Marshall McLuhan's famous phrase. This is also true of Maya paintings. This is one of the doorways at Bonampak, that one of the lintels there that's still protected. You can see that the frame of the picture is red, the background is blue. There's some blue-green on his jade bead skirt. There's no color down here that I can see, little bits and pieces of color, but in general, the feathers on his head were either green, a little bit of green still showing, a little blue-green still showing on these feathers, or yellow. And the use of color is part of what makes these pictures so freaking appealing. Let's see now. And interestingly, hieroglyphs in stone inscriptions and hieroglyphs in stucco inscriptions tend to be monochrome. The Temple 18 glyphs were all painted blue, solid blue, and then attached to a red wall, so that the frame was red and the glyphs were blue. And the stucco inscriptions on the I don't have photographs of this, but the stucco inscriptions on the that survive at Palenque, for instance, tend to be solid red glyphs on a blue background or solid blue glyphs on a red background. And occasional exceptions to that are again, I couldn't find a decent photograph of this, but the inscription on the door jamb of the Temple of the Cross, Temple of the Cross, Temple of the Sun, yes, Temple of the Cross, which is the big temple in the triad of Palenque. One of the jambs mentions a legendary king, an Olmec era king from the 7th Baktun, I think, maybe 5th Baktun. In any case, his name is something like Stingray Spine Serpent. And all the glyphs on that inscription apparently were painted blue except the stingray spine. And it's a very interesting little accent that the bloody thing on the inscription was painted in a way that drew our attention to its use. In any case, there are several different artists who worked on, in fact, all the inscriptions in Palenque, I did my dissertation on this, all the inscriptions in Palenque were done by a handful of artists. Temple 11's bench was 11, I think there were 11 artists working on it. Sorry, Temple 19's bench had 11 artists working on it. And you can identify their handwriting pretty easily because it being engraved handwriting, you can literally see the difference in their style. But the Palace tablet had over 20, maybe 25 people working on it. And the Temple of the Group 4, not the Temple Group, the Group 4 panel that shows the Temple of the Slaves is called because the guy's sitting on a throne made of people all hunched over. There were 4 artists who worked on that. And it's actually 3 panels of stone. And the panels were separated when they were being carved. And one artist would work on the panel on the right and one on the left, panel on the left, and then 2 artists worked on the panel in the middle. And the interesting thing to me on that inscription in the tablet of the slaves, that inscription, is that the crack that goes right through the middle of the glyphs, the right hand of the glyph, right side of the glyph is by one artist, and the left side is carved by a different artist. Clearly, they were working at separate tables. I don't have pictures of that, but another set of blue glyphs on red that was reconstructed was the Temple 19 glyphs. Again, solid. And the fragment here that's missing is a bird man, and they didn't know how to orient it, so they didn't want to commit themselves. So that glyph, half that glyph still survives, but it's also blue. And interestingly, by the way, again, if you look at the glyph of a bird with a fish in its mouth here, and this bird with a fish in its mouth, and this bird with a fish in its mouth, and the lay glyph underneath it, see this lay glyph has these sort of crescent shapes are cutting all the way across, where these are much narrower. These are 3 different artists doing. You can easily see when you compare these glyphs side by side that the fish's fins are different, the fish's heads are different, the bird's beak is different, the bird's eye is different, and the lay glyph is different in each of these. And I think there are at least 3 different artists making just these stucco glyphs. And I should mention that not all of the stucco glyphs from Temple 18, which all fell on the floor, not quite all, almost all fell on the floor, most of them are no longer colored. The color has faded on most of them, which means that the different hands, the different artists, had different recipes for their paint. And this guy's paint was just more lasting. So this is the way glyphs actually appeared to the ancient Maya in color. And I think if you look at this, the knee glyph, for instance, underneath this keen, this knee glyph and this knee glyph under this tune, completely different hands. You can see the much more detailed and much more wavy knee glyphs. Anyway, T-shirts, modern fantasies. Very, very few inscriptions had this kind of multicolor coloring book color. There is one inscription in Tonino that has details painted different colors. This is a photograph that was distributed by Yuri Polyakovich that shows, again, he has not bloodshot eyes. It looks like he's got a black eye, but he's got this red ring on his eye. His cheeks are blue. His headband is blue. Probably the ooglyph here is painted blue. And this toe glyph, Yeah, this toe glyph down here has a red band again a blue arch. This arch seems to be a consistent feature of standard coloration in glyphs. This is a glyph from the burial 195. This glyph. This is a bowl from burial 195. The bowl itself is gone, but the paint on the bowl was preserved by the fact that burial 195 was flooded soon after the burial, and the wooden bier on which the king, who's the king? He's called Animal Skull. I don't know if it's his actual name, but you can correct me, by the way. You're welcome to interrupt me with questions. But anyway, the skull, the guy that was buried, the king that died about 595, who was one of the usurper kings during the period of that Tikal was ruled, not ruled by its regular dynasty. This is the king that produced a lot of interesting inscriptions, and all of the most beautiful inscriptions that I've seen with these multicolored, I say both, 3 inscriptions with these multicolored glyphs all come from the same tomb, from this guy's name. And the penis glyph, let's see, here we go. The penis glyph is red. The prefix for it is green. The sky glyph, oddly, is not blue. It's also red and conventionally red. This is a head in a sacrifice bowl. The sacrifice bowl has a red rim. The head has a red jaw. This glyph here, the sacrifice tool, is blood red. That's the lancet, if you will. And for some reason, the glyph yash is not painted green, even though the background is green. The the glyph for new is not green, which suggests that maybe the reading was not the word green, but the word new as opposed to green. So it's a new lancet place. And Kabkan or Kabchan, the earth is painted red. The arch is conventionally blue in other cases. Here I see little traces of blue on that. And the sky is red as usual. So earth and the sky both have red features. So this is from this fragment of inscription. And the reason that this paint is preserved is because the tomb was flooded with all of its offerings, and the flood brought a lot of mud in that completely buried everything in mud, and the mud hardened and preserved the paint. As the wood was eaten away by rot and termites, the paint was preserved on the inside of the hollow by sticking to the mud, and like the bodies of Pompeii, right? A lot of the. I understand. I just looked up the bodies of Pompeii. I think they found 1,200. Maybe it's only 200. But anyway, the casts of bodies that were made mostly in the 1880s of people in Pompeii. Whenever they found a void, they'd fill the void with plaster, and so that was being followed by the archaeologists at Tikal in the 1950s and 60s. So luckily, when they came to a void, all the white here is the plaster that filled the void, and the paint that had been on the wall of this void wasn't preserved. It wasn't preserved up here, although the space was. And I'm not sure why this base was fragmentary. Although it occurs to me that the Kawil statues, which were also in the tomb, 3 were preserved almost complete, and 1 was halfway out of the mud, and so we only have half of that Kawil cast, and they preserve that with its matrix still. And they were able to also. I've not seen good photographs of it, but there's a drawing of the bier, the wooden panel that the king was laid on when he was buried, and that was carved. And I think you can make out the inscription. And let's see what else is wood. There's some little wooden jaguars in that statues of jaguars in that tomb. Let's see now. Here's the plate that's got the longest pretty inscription, and there are 20 glyphs on the painted portion, and a lot of the painted portion is flaked off. It's flaked off here, it's flaked off there, it's flaked off there, and you can actually see enough of the inscription that shows through here and here and here and here. Wherever it's brown, you can see enough of the inscription that you can actually read some of the glyphs that are appearing here. This plate was used before it was buried. It's completely worn out, and in fact, he's holding it. This is the initial glyph up here. I think no, it's not an initial. This is the initial glyph in the series, but the man's head is here and his feet are here. There's his body, his hands up. So it really should rotate this so you can see it upright. But anyway, this is the very large stuccoed plate, and here's the glyphs on it. Yahal is, as again, got the ha is spelled as a moon. The la is the two upside down, whatever you want to call the upside down ahau faces. The sun god is red with a green headband, a green ear flare. The ear flare has a piece hanging below it, which is again an inverted ahau, which they painted as if it was a law glyph, as if it was meant to be read, because it's exactly the same as this law glyph. Again, the law glyph is painted like when it's right side up. It's also painted, the same face is painted white on the sides with a red stripe down the middle, usually. Kawil has flames coming off his torch. The torch is red. The flames are red. He's got this mirror on his forehead. The mirror's a different color than his actual forehead, which is green. The ear flare and this patch on the side of his face. He's got red lips and white around the red lips. The Tikal emblem glyph has, again, this is the word ahau. And even though this is not an ahau face, it's painted like the ahau faces with a red stripe down the middle. And so that half of the ahau face, the ahau glyph is painted with a red stripe. Whatever the right side of this double glyph is conventionally green on top. And again, the arch of the Tikal emblem glyph, which is supposedly a person's head with a headband. I just noticed, I think I might have noticed this before. The strap on the back of the head, whatever this knot is also painted with the same ahau colors, but backwards. It's white in the middle with where's my cursor? There we go. It's white in the middle with red ends. This stripe, and again, the arch of glyphs tends to be like this, green. Now this is the son of father glyph or child of father glyph, and this ahau face has a little bit of color on either side, but it's got the red stripe down the middle, and the mouth, if you will, is white. And the arch on top of the head is green, as we often see. I have to move this to read here. The knob glyph is mostly red. The inserted, but the infixed pieces are kind of yellowish. The plant form on top of the knob is mostly green, as expected. And the Kinich glyph is it's got a red sun and green ends, and it's got these features. Whatever the Kinich is built of, it seems to be carrying its the natural colors of whatever this feature was in it's a Moglyph, by the way. The Moglyph that is part of, I say it's a Moglyph because outside of the Kinich, this says Ma, right? And whatever it is, they painted it, looks like red in the center and brown on the outside. And let's move on to the Yash, whatever it is. This glyph has a green ear flare. And here the Yash, and here the Yash is green. So this bird is a green bird, and this is a green somebody. And Yash bird. This looks a lot like a seating glyph, but I'm not sure. I don't think it's a seating glyph. Sun god, the syllable ba is painted red like the sun god. And for some reason, the dot, the part of the sun, this ba glyph is painted yellowish. His mouth is white. The suffix ya, it looks like it's yellow. I'm not sure what ya might represent, but this is the ilah, the witness glyph. It also has the green arch on whatever this face is. The eyeball has got the little, viewing penetration, what do you call it, the eyeball thing sticking out of the side of the face. Are black. Does it have an ear flare? I can't tell. The witness glyph, let's see. Decorative arch span is always, blue-green. So this is Chankab Suk. And the Chankab, again, the sky earth glyph. In this case, it has green arches, and the Kab glyph has white inside with black lakes, if you want to call them. I always think of these designs on the earth glyph as being a lake and a river, but they don't seem to be blue. That wasn't how they saw them. Unfortunately, the sky glyph is mostly damaged. So you got a green arch in the sky. So this rodent, whatever it is, has red lips and a white face with a green cap, and the darkness glyph is black and white. The ear flares, the quincunx is green. The little inverted howl face is red stripe in the middle, as usual. This thingamajig on top of his ear flare is rare enough that I'm not sure I can identify it. Maybe Carl has an idea about what that could be. But the column glyph, again, it has this maw, which has this is probably red as maw, but it's very similar to this maw with the sort of brown. I'm not sure which these are. I always think of these as like a baseball glove or a paw sticking out attached to this syllable maw. But the two parts of the column green stripe, green arch, red solid background, and then this is a white fill with a green arch. Three cartoon lord. He's the number 3 has a red dot and a green dot and a damaged dot. The what we normally think of as the stone glyph is white with a green arch. The two combs, which were originally fish combs, but together it forms the word for cartoon, or the prefix for cartoon, and they look red, or maybe they're black with red dots. And the main sign, if you want to call it that, the main feature of the cartoon glyph, which is what we just call the toon glyph by itself, has white stripes on a red sky, green arch, and a colored background. I can't see if the suffix, looks like the suffix is completely gone. But anyway, whatever this title is, the 14 knob title, this is also knob. The color is very different. The green part on the top is the same. The letters are brown except for a red dot and a yellow dot, and maybe that's a green dot. The bars of the 5s are brown. Again, light brown. I'm not sure whether this is literally the same glyph as that. This might be a different reading with the infixed water signs, infixed lays or whatever they are. Lays are brown. Here I don't see any lays. There is the kawil, the sacred sign at the bottom, which is. Do you guys see that? Is this just a screen for you? It's because I've got something obscuring the bottom of my screen here.
No, it looks good here.
It looks good. Okay. Well, the kahul glyph is the so-called monkey face with a red cap, a nose that's got some white details, a mouth that's green. Don't see his ear flare. Maybe that's a green ear flare. But again, the dots are treated like the dots in these numbers, which is to say they're multicolored. This is a yellow, a green, a dark color, a red. So the dots of the kahul, the sacred glyph, here are treated as individual items to be colored willy-nilly, whereas the inner dots are red and yellow. So this is like the little line of the arch with the so-called sacredness dots. Up here, the word sacred is written as a red band with black dots and one big yellow dot at the top. I'm not sure what's going on with that one yellow dot, but that one's yellow too, the very top one. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe these have an order. This glyph, let's see. I can't. What's the label underneath this glyph, by the way? I can't see it because my screen sharing sign is on it. What's the letter? Sorry?
I don't see your mouse. Which one you're pointing at?
Sorry, my mouse is the second to the last glyph.
Just says a tikal title.
It's a Tikal title. So this is the guy, probably 10 of the stelae at Tikal portray the ruler wearing this thing under his nose that hooks up. It's a very distinctive facial decoration for Tikal portrayals of lords. And so I just call it a Tikal title. But it is the preface to the name of Animal Skull, his present reading of his name is not coming back to my memory at the moment. Does anyone remember it?
I can tell you what the next one is.
Sorry, what's it?
The next one is a reptile head, and it's the family name of this ruler.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't remember how to pronounce it in Mayan. Anyway, so reptile head. That's the name of this. The name of the king. And yes, he's got red lips, a green face. His ear and his nose are brown. The line above the scales above his lips are brown, and then inside his mouth is an object. I think it appears many times as this was more naturalistic, whatever it is, but usually it's like a glyph, like the na glyph. It's two tabs in the middle. But anyway, he's eating something. I don't think that's his tongue. I don't think that's his mouth. I don't think that's mouth parts. It's something that he's chomping on. So anyway, the name of the king, the ruler that was buried here, is is on this plate. And let's see, there are a lot of inscriptions. I think the one of the vessels. Let me go back here. Let me back up to him. I'm gonna escape this. Um, where is his name? I have a little. Is it here? That's not it. Oh, these are the other vessels, by the way, that were in his tomb. There's another wooden vessel that was a lidded vessel, and the glyphs on this vessel are also polychrome, but it's not by the same artist. They're much simpler, and there's a rodent head with a yellowish face, and we'll get around to. We'll find this guy's name sooner or later. But again, this is a Yi glyph, and this is I forgot it. Anyway, very, very multicolored, a little bit less enhanced in this case, but you can see the ukib here. That's what this glyph is. This is a snake's head, and the key glyph, which is it's always been called the wing quincunx in the early days, but the wing here is multicolored. It's really like a decorative bird's wing, pretty much like the way that the Egyptians portrayed birds' wings. And pull that to the side. I'm still looking for. No, that's the same thing. It'll turn up. It'll turn up. I just wanted to show you the way that his name, the way that guy is portrayed in other places. For instance, the plate in Norfolk, in the Chrysler Museum in Norfolk, is an inscription of his. It didn't come from that tomb, but you can see the glyphs much clearer on that, and it's somewhere in these slides here. This is the way that cacao is spelled. The way that cacao is spelled in many different contexts. And let's see if I get this larger here. It's spelled kawa. This is a comb, which is the fish fin, the head of the fish, and then a wa suffix. This is an early version. Again, that's a fin and a fish, and that presumably is the wa. This is the way it's spelled in the Dresden Codex with two fish fins in the traditional wa. These examples are a double comb doesn't spell kaka, it just spells ka. So this is ka, wa. This is ka, and wa. This is an early classic version. This is a early classic version up here. This is post-classic. This is a very, very early. In Burial 10, the early classic vase has two dots, which doubles the fish. And the very early versions of this fish has some sort of stuff coming out of his mouth, little lines with dots around them. Here it is again in the Ranho with a fishy-looking fish. And then by the classic period, the Codex-style fish is almost so abstract you don't recognize it as a fish, but the wa is very clear. The wa is very clear. The wa is clear here in this museum, American Museum of Natural History glyph. So this is the number 2 plus a ka and a wa. This is ka, and wa. This is no number 2, no extra ka. You often see it spelled just cow. That there's a wa and a ka, wa and a ka, wa and a ka. And this particular way of drawing the whole fish is peculiar to the so-called Sham, a royal painter who painted a lot of Naranjo vases and signed a couple of them. But whenever you see this particular spelling of cacao with this whole fish, this is from the vase of the seven gods. He painted that. Codex style cow is kawa. Another codex style cow. This is, codex style is usually thought of as monochrome, but in fact, it's a deep brown for the outline and then different shades of brown for the fill, and that's a way that the workshop of the codex style workshop probably there's a distinction between the unfilled glyphs in codex style vases. A lot of them are just the outline. They aren't colored in with spots of color like this, but some are and some aren't. I haven't tried to figure out which ones were painted in Kalak Mul and which ones were painted in Nok Bay, but I suspect that these are Nok Bay cacaos. This is a monochrome cacao, but again, it's spelled kawa. And this is a carved kawa from the early classic. Sometimes they just have the ka. In a Naranjo vase, K532 and K1183, they spell cacao as just ka, so it's abbreviated. And this is the famous vase that was studied, that was found intact in a tomb with the lock top, and they sent samples of the dried up chocolate to the Hershey Company, and of course Hershey was able to identify it as chocolate. I wonder if they'd sent it to somebody else that would have come with chocolate. But anyway, they proved that the vessel did contain chocolate, and it mentions this. The chocolate glyph appears twice. Here it's spelled with the duplicator, the two dots, plus the ka, plus the fish head. So that literally says ka to kawa, and so there's like different spellings. The word chocolate was so common on vessels that they just had to have the fish. Anything else was the fish was the standard abbreviation for chocolate, and all the other stuff was window dressing, if you will. Let's see. I had this. Can I get this to go smaller? Okay. I know it. I have to grab it from the corner down here. Well, maybe I do, maybe I don't. That's the same table from this. Let's see. That's the last slide in this particular PowerPoint. The rest of the PowerPoint is about the distribution of logograms and phonograms on typewriters. So we'll leave that. But this is just a wonderful inscription, and there are very few inscriptions that are this fancy. Let's go to the other PowerPoint. Interestingly, this is one of the earliest vases to be excavated archaeologically, and one of the earliest vases to be an excavated period. This is before all the looting for vases began, and it's a red background vase, which means it probably was made in Zelsots. But this is made for Washoktun. It was made with the Washoktun emblem glyph, and it's called the initial series vase because it has a date here in the 7th Baktun. So this is a retrospective date. It's legendary. 7th Baktun is back in the late pre-classic, and this vase was clearly painted in the classic period. And it's dated 75010. Well, it's 75000. Sorry, and it's naturally in a How date, and whatever event happened on this, it's a legendary date. But what interested me is that the glyphs were multicolored. What is even more interesting is that the primary standard sequence is often multicolored, and the texts which identify people are not. There's some which are all multicolored. There's some which are not. Nothing is multicolored. So sometimes the treatment of these glyphs match these glyphs. But in this case, and in about 30 other examples that I found, which I'll show you in a minute.
Mark, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but we're still seeing the previous PowerPoint. I
Oh my
think
God!
it's just sharing one Yeah, I wanted to interrupt you just because
Thank you.
I want to see what you're showing us.
I don't know why it doesn't switch when I switch it. Did you see? Okay. Did you see this? Did you see this pot when I showed it?
No, now we're seeing it, but I think
Oh,
you're just seeing this window.
yes, you're just seeing this window. Okay, so
Mhm.
my sincere apologies. These were found in these were wooden vases that were found. I talked about this for 10 minutes. I'm so sorry. Stop me sooner. Interrupt me with questions, please. I want you to notice that this, I think it's a Yeoglyph, and this head variant and this Ukib. Let's see. There's the Ukib. The wing of the Ukib is colored, multicolored, like the bird wings on Egyptian birds. And the U is it has three little rings, right? Which look in most glyphs they're identical. We've got the donut and then the two semicircles. Here they're often when I see them in color, they're often the middle glyph is blue, the other glyphs are different color. And you can see the eye is colored in this guy, the eye is colored in this guy, and the face of this snake is polychrome. This is a little bit enhanced, I think. There's the Ukib here, and what's the face of the serpent? Anyway, this bog glyph, this gopher is multicolored. And again, this white is the plaster when they made a cast of the vessel void inside the dirt. And this is another picture of that void.
Hey,
So,
Mark, can you not make this slideshow go to full screen? We're seeing all the little thumbnails on the left.
you know what? I probably can if I could figure out how to reach. Unfortunately, the buttons for this thing are, let me see if I can get it down here.
Yeah, the last version, they were down at the bottom, but
Yeah, but they're not visible here.
and if you go up to show, then you can't see what's coming up next or what?
Just a second. I don't know how to make this fill the screen. My sincere apologies. I showed
Okay.
it on the other slideshow. I'm just going to close this. Can you see this window? Again, view.
It's the same. Yeah.
It's the same. Can you see? Oh, damn it! Just a second. Let me stop share. Your screen sharing is pause. I don't know why that happens. Because when I reshare,
When you reshare, are you selecting to share your entire screen or just certain windows?
what I have on my screen is 8 little windows, little windowlets, and the word share. And when I click on one of them and I click share, which I'm just doing, then you see the image that was on my desktop. But I don't see the controls for this thing. I don't know why. I can
Huh.
get rid of it to make it bigger.
That's perfect.
I'm so sorry. So this is a distribution of the dynastic vase, which is a codex style vase. And as you know, codex style vases are they have a red rim and they have a creamy yellowish background with black glyphs that are uncolored, except when they have dates, often the Tzolk'in date is red. And this is, like I said, this is a distributed distribution of the 19 kings, which is the longest inscription. This is the LACMA version of this pot. And I've distributed this so that so you can read. The emblem glyphs are all the same. Kalakmul, the snake glyph. And there's a snake glyph here. The emblem glyph is missing. Here the emblem glyph is missing. Apparently, at the first part of the text is nicely spelled out, right? Here's the coronation glyph. The second king is broken, is scrunched into, this is a single glyph. Oh, that's good. Is that better?
Yeah.
The second text is squashed into three glyph blocks. This is 5 glyph blocks. This is 3 glyph blocks, which I've separated out. And it has the emblem glyph of the snake site with this column T glyph. and then it's this. He's the only column in the early kings. Here it's missing the emblem glyph, but this is a Yuknom king who's sharing. And a lot of these are names shared with Kalakmul glyph, Kalakmul kings, but the dates are different. So this is presumably a history of late pre-classic kings in what is now the Mirador Basin, or maybe Zibanche, which was another place where the Snake Kings ruled. But in any case, these kings are not. These dates don't appear in later monuments with these names, and the names are different orders. So presumably these are like, King Harold the First, and then Harold the Seventh or something like that was the king, the contemporary king in Kalakmul. And I think that Simon Martin has done a study of this and puts these dates in sequence sometime in the 1st century BC. But this is the jaguar paw smoke dude. This is it looks like wing smoke. I'm not sure what that wing glyph is, but this is a pretty common king's name with the sky with the black background cross. I don't remember the names of these. This same black background cross is in these Sky Witness King title. People call this scroll serpent. I'm sure that there's a Mayan pronunciation for it now. But anyway, this is, guys, a column Tay with there's a column Tay glyph. There's a column Tay glyph. I think that's the only two. But basically, they were running out of room. They wanted to fit the entire 19 kings on, so these are scrunched together into a single glyph block. These are scrunched together into a single glyph block. That's why they're so narrow. These are scrunched together. These are scrunched together. And so all the dates are compressed in the latter half of the sequence, except for the king that was presumably reigning when this vase was made. Maybe. The last king was the glorious king. He was a column Tay. But anyway, the point is this: the Tzolk'in dates are all red, and they are surrounded by what amounts to a blood glyph. The glyph Cheech for blood is an oval with 3 little feet, and this is a blood glyph with a daysign imposed upon it, and that's why it's red. And you can see that on Kaminal Huyu Stela 10, the actual altar. Is it 10 or 11? Anyway, the altar has date signs with drippy bottoms on these things. And that's why they make this red. There's a few codex style vases that are here's the vase itself. There are a few codex style vases that are that have the dates red. Most of the time, all the glyphs on codex style vases are what should I say, are plain. They're not colored in. And there is one glyph in this text which is not colored in. It's left. It's the number here is the head variant of the number 3. But the other copies of this dynastic vase, the other copies have this cartouche painted red. So apparently the guy just forgot it. And what else? Another feature you may know that this says the date is 9. The coefficients are 9 and 19 here. On another vase, the coefficients are 9 and 13. On another vase, the coefficients are 9 and 14. This is the coefficient 3, and it's always a 3, but it's always a head variant. This is sometimes 7. This is sometimes 9. And these dates are completely different dates if you change the month sign, but keeps the Tzolk'in date, right? And so it turns out that also that most of these dates, I think on this vase, are imaginary dates. The number 19 does not go with this day sign, with this month sign, with this day sign, and the number 10 doesn't go with this day sign. Inish. See, Inish should be. This should be 4, 14, 9, and 19. And this is 10. Go figure. So these are imaginary dates. And again, does that place them in some sort of altered state? Barb has a lot to say about cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, cycle 4, and so forth, dates. Perhaps you can comment on that. Let's see. There's the whole thing. You can see how the data gets scrunched in the later glyphs. Start out with one name scrunched, but again, all the rest are very large. Then it runs out of time, and then at the very end, they're talking about connecting this guy with modern times with the distance number, which is fairly reasonable. It's 11 days, 4 months, 4 years, and then it happens, I guess, and then it's a modern date, but it's not very different. This is the death of this is a death glyph, presumably of this guy. But following that is these 4 glyphs are PSS, Ukib, and so forth, telling it that this is a drink for chocolate. And I think this is the only complete. There's the moving the distance number coming up to presumably the present, or at least the present of the date of the text. And there's the death glyph, the snake entering this stone, this mountain. Ukib, and so forth. Utah, I'm sorry, Tiyub, something like that. My glyph reading is not as good as it should be here. This was another text that came out of the ground early. This is a Washoe tune pot. Unfortunately, it was originally this bright pink color, and this green was a very bright green. You can see a little bit of it showing through, but they shellacked it to keep the paint from peeling. And this was a lidded vase in a Washoe tune burial, and this text here is almost identical to this. I think this glyph is different, and there's a lot of ubas. This is a very fancy uba, another fancy uba. The first glyph in all 4 of these texts is uba, and this text was painted pink, and this text was painted green. Again, a solid band with the black ink across it. So this is another way that color is used in inscriptions on vases. And there's another one after this. This is it. Okay, this is a series of vases from the red background pots from Elzotz. So there's about 5 vases like this that have a small primary standard sequence and a large primary standard sequence. And it's, let's see, this is the glyph UKB, which is his drinking vessel. And this is Yi, Hutch. Hi, sorry, Hi Yi. And this is the Ukim is around the side, but this is Utsib. Sorry, this is the writing. This is the Si Ba, and they spell Ba with the glyph in this site. They spell Ba as the syllable Ba. They spell with the skull, which is Bach, and the skull is painted red with an orange jaw, orange brow, an orange nose, white eye. You often see white eyes, often see red lips or red upper lips, and what should you say? This guy has a fin. I guess that's a fish. That's an oo fish. And but the text is, the small text is uncolored and the big text is richly colored. Let's see if they do that here. No. And I shot this in a museum. I think this is in the museum in Guatemala City. These are glyphs from oh gosh, I might be mistaken. I think this is also from Elzotz. But anyway, this is an artist a group of artists who painted red fill. The body of the glyphs are painted brownish red, with leaving the eyes white. I call them the white eye master. And the texts that are over here, they're colored the same. And by the way, glyphs in Aztec times are very polychrome. They're treated as if they're pictures. This is a scene from let's see, do we have it? Yeah, this is the same guy. This is 8 deer tiger claw. There's the claw, part of his name. There's the deer part of his name. He has no antler on this deer. This is a different guy. But I want you to notice that one of the conventional features of faces in some Maya faces, and I'm talking about iconic faces as opposed to glyphs, is to paint the corner of the eye red. This is, by the way, are you seeing this glyph of the guy with the red eye? Okay, good. So he's got his famous shield, looks like a baseball. He's got lots of color in his body and so forth. His feet are painted black. His face is painted with a red mouth, and his eye has a red corner. And so does the eye on the jaguar mask that he wears. And so does the eye of the deer. This doesn't look red, actually, but elsewhere, when his name glyph appears, that's a red blob in the corner of his eye. Oh, sorry. And these people are also corner of the eye is red, corner of the eye is red. The corner of the eye of the Tlaloc glyph is red, and the corner of the eye in the grass glyph is also red. And this guy, for some reason, is not. The dog's dead, so he's not got the red eye. He's got red gums. But it's interesting that the Aztecs have conventional colors as well. Here the colors look like multicolored. Here they look all like quetzal feathers. The skin in this person's painted yellow. This person's painted brown, gray, or something like that, although his hand is brown. So I haven't looked much at Aztec colors. But this is the plate with its glyphs distributed. We've already looked at it. This is if there ever was color in Babylonian glyphs, in Babylonian signs, if there ever was color, it was they would have had to paint in the clay tablets, right? Maybe they use color in the painted examples, but this is the glyph for person with a hand on his head, and the hand on his head is kind of like a crown. This is a human body with a crown that literally it's a hand that represents power. It's usually got 5 fingers, and it means king. This is the glyph for king in Babylonian. The origins of Chinese signs were pictorial. This is a horse. The original horse had 4 legs. I guess this is a hook. I'm not sure what that represents. This is the flaring mane of the horse, but these are so conventionalized by the technology of the drawing. Here, drawing by pressing into a tablet with a stylus has conventionalized it into straight lines, which becomes very, very hard to read as a human being, especially after they rotated these signs around on their sides. It was actually Babylonian writing is the only writing that was written horizontally but read vertically. The signs when you see like the Code of Hammurabi, all the signs are vertical. You can read the human being as a human being because his head is in the top, his legs are petered out here, the crown is on the top. Whereas in a tablet, you can tell that they held the tablet with one hand and they wrote on it with the other hand. Let's see, they held the tablet like this and they wrote on it. Let's see if I can draw this so you can see it. Pulling my computer away. They held the tablet vertically and they wrote horizontally. And then they turned it vertically to read it. So they wrote horizontally and they wrote vertically. It's the way that lefties write. Lefties often write like this. And or they write completely upside down. But left-handed people learn to write in a way that's comfortable for their hand, which is not the way that you can read it. And let's see. Chinese, this horse became very abstracted by the fact that the brushstrokes changed everything. This is a person with his hands out, like his hands are wide to say big is the character for big in Chinese. And this is from an animation that shows how to draw Chinese glyphs. Isn't that cute? Back to here. So the Washock tune. Oh, sorry. Can you see this? Can you see the Washock tune?
No, we're seeing the Chinese glyph.
Hold on. I got to stop the share and go back to where were we? Here. I got all these windows open on my screen, and I didn't realize that I was not finding it for you. So the Washoe Tomb base that was discovered in 1931 had both colored glyphs and plain glyphs, and I was discovering as I was collecting different archaeological sites, vases, that they had different conventions for writing colors or not colors from place to place. And I'll show you this in a little bit. I get this to, there we go. So this is the Blom plate, which is also found early. Blom bought this sometime between 1920 and 1950. And you can see that the primary standard sequence here has a red footprint on a multicolored step. There's a red hand, a multicolored face, and all these glyphs these are birds with different colored eyebrows, and a hand in front of a monkey face with, again, colored red eye. Oops. Is this showing? Are these glyphs changing with? Can you see the Blom plate?
Yes, yes,
And you see the Washoe Tomb pot?
yes, there it is.
And you see 4 cacao spellings.
Right.
Okay. This is, by the way, an engraved cacao where they were running out of room, and they just wrote the fish. This is called the blowgunner pot, and we show 2 guys that are marked as if they're both Hunahpu shooting a bird that's wearing an interesting headdress of a bird. I'm not sure what's going on here, but the bird has got some stuff coming out of its beak. And the Blom plate's got a lot of mysteries, a lot of stuff, and nobody reads it. I say this is the two most beautiful pots from the series of double PSSs from Elzotz. And they have a complete primary standard sequence, or so I say a longer primary standard sequence written small in monochrome on a red background, and below it are larger glyphs. Let's see. There's the initial sign, which is not even visible in this text. So this is not a complete version. I actually made this out of photographs taken through a glass case of this vessel and flattened them out, so I don't have the whole text. Oh, there's the initial glyph. So this is the whole text. So where's the initial glyph here? Oh, there it is. U-K-B. Sorry, that's not the initial glyph. But anyway, there's the initial glyph, alai, and then there's the sacred glyph, which is repeated here, small. This is probably by the same artist, wouldn't you think? And this glyph, which is a yi, is monochrome here, and it's polychrome here with a colored the infix of the yi, which is a little curl inside this arching thing of the jig. This has a face on it. This is the same glyph by different artists with the same coloration: a yellow infix, a white or light yellow mouth, a white eye, and a red arch with a orange arch in this case. But this glyph is the same as, where is it? I guess that's, yeah, so this must be the initial glyph. It's really hard to see here, but this initial glyph. This is the sacred. There's the yi, and this is the chi. Chi is the word for deer, and they're using the deer head with a little antler and a white, bunch of fur on the side of his head. I guess that's his ear hanging down, and there's the same glyph in monochrome. And what should I say? This is the deer glyph by this other artist, and he shows it as the hand sign chi, which is got a deer's face on it. Now I realize this looks like a human face, but the lips and things are exactly the same as the lips on the deer. So this is a deer's head with a chi glyph made out of, and I believe that chi is a hand sign that was probably in ancient times a signal among hunters to say there's a, indicate a deer making the antler with his fingers. In any case, this is a lovely animated chi hand with, again, the infix at the bottom of the glyph, different color. Here the chi has not got an infix. Each, this probably is an oo, utsibali, utsibal, um, and this is another oo, very very fancy oo, and this is the bat sea. I'm not sure why this. Oh, there's the bat sea. There it is. So this is tsibali. So this is the tsi bat with the instead of a nose, instead of here the nose is a leaf nose bat. Here the nose is turned into like a fin, like a fish. So that's why I thought this was an oo. But it's got the same sort of coloration. The yellow area around the eye, the red arch over the and the yellow lip, and the black mouth with the white lip, and so forth. This is the bach, or the ba syllable, and he's run out of space. This is actually the last glyph. He's scrunched it in, and here he's got room for one more glyph, utsi bali, and this is the worm bird. The worm is missing. There's a little curl in his mouth. There's a little feature on his forehead that may have been a worm at one time. But Utsi Utsi Bali. Oh, there it is. This is the worm bird. There's the bach, the ba. With this here they've lost the worm in his mouth, but here it's quite visible with the dots and so forth. And this is another Yeech Ukib. Yeech Ukib is talking about the thin-walled vessel. And there's an Ta Tsi, which is talking about chocolate, but they run out of space. They don't have the word chocolate. They just start the primary standard sequence over again. So this is the small PSS and the large PSS. Same glyphs, same order, by two different artists. And there is 3 or 4 bases I found with this much larger PSS attached to a smaller PSS. I have no idea why why they did that. Let's see. So there's the here, something sacred. Yeech, Utsi, Bali, Hai, Yukib. So there's the sometimes they spell Yukib with a bow, sometimes with a B. And the bow that they sometimes they have bow as a balloon. They have like a number 9. And there's the same text again with connecting the large glyphs with the small glyphs, and then the glyphs that are missing for the analysis are here. So this is the I'm not sure which of these is the bat, but that's these glyphs parallel each other right around this whole text. Here's the beginning of the Blom plate. The step is red, typical skin color, climbing a stairway, which is outlined in red, and it's got the purple bunch of grapes. Oops, sorry. And this is a different vessel with a PSSIG, and the mirror sign is turned into this spiral. The yaw here is colored red with the yellow center, red rims, and the this thing, which is originally supposedly a monkey's, or not a monkey's, but a turtle's beak, is drawn, is already abstracted to something very odd. But here the footprint that's shown as a sort of recognizable foot has become an abstract glyph, and the dots of the toes have become something like the sacredness dots on a Kuhul glyph. And the pyramid has this infix in the Blom plate. Here the infix is like the Yi infix. And let's see, what's the next glyph? This is 2 real early examples of a primary standard sequence. Here's the step glyph on the we have it here. It's on the Diker bowl. The step glyph, I guess this is an early initial glyph, but this is a primary standard sequence, and this is presumably an early version of a primary standard sequence. There's again is the step glyph with the footprint on it in early versions. There's a Diker bowl, and the step glyph, which is the second glyph, is enlarged here with the dots around it. So this is late preclassic. And there's the step glyph, which has multicolored version here from the blown plate from this vessel, which I think is in Lacma. And this is a typical codex style. The step has become kind of a slope. It's still got the infixed yi. This is Tabai, and the footprint has become a darkness glyph. Shall I say, it's become it's condensed, converged with the footprint. So this is, where's the hand? Oh, there's a yay inside the tabai. So this is a phonetic complement inside the tabai, and this is a primary standard sequence initial glyph from this plaque that's a protoclassic plaque. I'm just really interested in the way glyphs evolve. I'm interested in paleography. There it is again. So the longest text I could find on a Chama style vase. The Chama glyphs, Chama texts tend to be monochrome, although again, the text that is in the middle, this is just another PSS. Same text as here. Or actually a continuation of this text. My apologies. It begins here with glyphs that are colored. Anai, Tabai, Utsib, Utsibali, and then it goes oh, that's Utsib also. And then it goes Yukib, Tayutal, and with a leaf glyph. So this text is a continuous text, but it starts in color and ends up in black and white. Most texts in Chama style are relatively clear, nicely drawn, calligraphic, simple glyphs. There's the fish glyph, the word for chocolate here. There's the two dots in front of it, the ka and the wa, that. But they're not colored. They're not polychrome. This is as close to polychrome as they come in Chama. This is a real interesting text. This is in the Maya scribe in his world. They have a regular PSS, and pardon me, the PSS starts here, column B. The initial glyph, the Tabai glyph, Utsib, Yukib, and so forth. And it ends with the word Bakab for some reason. So this is a PSS that ends with a Bakab glyph. And then the Bakab, I guess, is part of this text, which continues, presumably identifying the owner of the vessel. But the backside, they ran out of things to say. So they filled it in with daysigns. And the daysigns are Imish, Ik, Akbakan, Chikchan, Kimi, and so forth. These are just the days of the week. And they've written 14 glyphs on the backside of this vessel. Now, I'm looking at the headdresses of these guys and the way that they draw feet. These might be two different artists. I found a number of vases in the Maya scribe in his world. There's at least one vase, maybe two as well, in which the two sides of the vase were painted by different artists. Go figure. But I like that. Sorry, this is going back. This is another vessel, also from Maya scribe in his world, that has Imish, Ik, Akbal, Khan, I guess, Chikchan, Kimi, Manik, Lamat, and so forth. So the backside of this is the third column of glyphs. So again, I think probably scribes started to read and write with the day signs, like everybody, like modern Mayanists do. That's the first list you read is the day signs, and so that's probably this is the guy's entire vocabulary. This guy was copying these glyphs relatively accurately. Maybe he was copying it from a text that he couldn't read. I could copy these. You can copy these without knowing what they say, right? You don't need to be able to read them to copy these glyphs. But some people are better at it than others. And I have a feeling that these are semi-literate glyphs, scribes. These are both from Naranjo. There's different schools in Naranjo. This group of people painted their glyphs. They outlined the glyphs. Maybe they drew I think they outlined them and then they painted the red, brown in for the PSS. But the secondary texts are sort of polychrome. These glyphs are painted white, are left white or unpainted. The background is painted yellow. And again, the eyes are left white. Whereas this guy, this artist and his followers painted everything red. and sometimes they paint it on a black background, but the glyphs are, the glyphs are yellowish on a red background with a dark red outline. And that seems to be pretty common in this style of glyphs that you find in Naranjo pots. The Altun Ha pots are multicolored, and the Altun Pa often has two panels. This is a Quetzal. If it was ever painted green, it's a fugitive green. These glyphs might have had green too, but this is the worm bird here. This is there's the initial glyph. And you can see this got a red rim on the mirror. It's got dark brown things on the ya. I mean, this is, I think these dots are just spacers. They're not numbers. They're all over the place in this text. They're not everywhere, but this is a number. And this is Hai. Again, is that Hai or Yi? This is Chi. Sorry, this is something Chi. And the hand has got a red spot, and so forth. Anyway, multicolored glyphs here. They seem to have standards for each workshop. They wrote glyphs in this guy also put dots between things. This might even be the same artist. But the Altun Ha scribes had their own color schemes, which share a lot of the same colors as the glyphs we've seen elsewhere. But some of them are different, but they're internally consistent. This is I'm not sure where the black rimmed codex style vases come from. They might be Naranjo also. There's a whole bunch of glyphs, but this is from I want to say Mohara. It's the this guy with the dots around his mouth is a major feature in the hieroglyphs from spacing out of the name of the place where they found that the tomb with the wall paintings of directions. But in any case, there's the initial glyph. It goes down, and then it goes across. There's a little bit of light color. Unfortunately, this is a black and white photograph, but I think the coloring in of these glyphs are a shade of the same black, just like you see in codex style. So these are either black or brown glyphs with these lovely quetzals, and the hand squeezing the fish offering glyph and the kawil and so forth. God, spacing out. I call him Mo Mouth, this character. Rio Aso. This is a Rio Aso pot. And next. This is an interesting vessel. It shows a visit from a queen of Tikal to a king of Ik, the Ik site, Motul de San Jose. So there's his name, and his glyphs are monochrome. There's a little bit of coloration difference here. This looks like a kind of a yellow with a white background. So maybe there's two colors in his glyphs, but her glyphs have blush on them. All of her name is, with especially the lady's face, has these pink cheeks. And again, the primary standard sequence is solid red on a yellow background. So there's three different texts with three different colorations, which I think is real interesting. And I don't know what it means, but they're clearly conscious of it. I'm not sure if this is a Tikal base or it's an Ik base. It might be an Ik base. This too is another vessel with solid color PSS and hollow glyphs. This is actually another PSS. How about that? It's a primary standard sequence, but because it's down in the main text, down in the main roll or in the columns, the glyphs have a little bit of blush on them, but no real sort of like polychrome. The only polychrome is the lighter colored brown that they have on their bodies with the white and the red background and the red background of these glyphs. Otherwise, plus black. So this is Itzamna with a bowl of tamales being met, and behind him is the moon goddess. She's got a moon hanging out of her butt, and these are the dots of the moon glyph. Bowl of tamales, and she's got a bowl of agave, and this is just a PSS. I didn't realize that, but this looks like it might be a PSS as well. Oh, it's the same text. Uba Seeb. I'm not sure if this is a real text or not, but he's sitting on a skybin. And of course, a skybin is also kind of a special kind of text. It's got glyphs that we know as the sky and the sun, and this phonetic sign, but it's also associated with the sky. In any case, this is another one of those multicolored Naranjo pots, and we'll see. Let's see. There's the initial glyph. Again, they're using a yellow, an orange, a deep red, a white on a kind of a creamy yellow background. And very clearly, this is Utsi Ba Li, Utsi Bal. So this would be the word for drinking. And mouths are white, yellow in this case. This is the stretched out Ukib, U-E-B, and the B is often surrounded by 4 dots in this particular workshop. I don't know what other things to say about the colors, except that there are different color schemes for different workshops. This is from the Motul de San Jose site, the EEC site, which was featured in that book, that wonderful book by Brian Just at Princeton. It's called The Princeton Pot. It's pretty famous, and it's got a primary standard sequence, which is yellow glyphs with black outliners, or say yellow filled, beautifully drawn calligraphic glyphs. And then the text below it is alternating colors. It starts with a white colored glyph at the bottom, and then a red daysign, and then another colored glyph, and then the rest of the text is kind of the same color as the PSS. Whereas this text alternates red, white, red, and these glyphs are kind of yellow, this looks actually darker than the rest. I don't know what's going on with the color scheme, but I think that they're telling us something with these colors. And in person, these masks that are hanging on the wall, they have a little bluish color in them that's really hard to photograph. It's really quite, if you see the Dumbarton Oaks pot vessel, this is it's really a gorgeous vessel. It's got this purpley color, got a kind of a blue, and this portrays an interior with this kind of portal, this what do you call this portal shape? Quatrefoil portal with a skull, who's often seen through a portal. We see this guy sort of looking into the room on the columns. Let's see. There's a whole series of large vessels, mostly from Yucatan, that have very, very colorful, very large glyphs. This is like 2 inches square, maybe 3 inches square. There's the beak of the Ah is multicolored with this chalk head for the Alai, and this is the second glyph. There's the word for pot, for plate, which is lak. It's an upside down Ahau face. There's the La Ka. There's the U La Ka, and I don't know what the other. There's the deer glyph, which is Chi. So this is probably Yeech, and then it's 9 something, and that's all the room they had. So there's a whole series of large glyphs which are kind of crude from this workshop. Let's see. This is another multicolored glyphs from the EEC site. These are both EEC site bases. This is the one that's in Princeton that's really beautiful, and it has typical EEC multicolored PSS, and the text on the side. I think these actually identify people and the parrot and the other creatures in the picture. But often you'll see a literate PSS, and these texts will be illiterate. These texts on the small glyphs that are uncolored are often gibberish. Is that the case here? These might be real, but again, this there's the Alai, Tabai, the Utsib, Utsi, Ba in this case. So there's another Li here that's broken off, or covered up here, Utsi Ba, and let's see if there's anything more I have to say about the color. This is the monkey face with a little a different color than we saw before on the Tikal vessel for the sacredness. it seems that whatever sort of vocabulary of color that they used in each site, they developed a style that was all their own. There's the blown plates broken up. You can see the different colors in these glyphs. This is the entire text. The footprint is, we saw these before. This is gibberish. These glyphs are all the same glyph, but they're alternating in color: red, white, red, white, red, and so, oh, it's not white. It's red, red, tan, red, tan, red, and then this is a little bit of multicolor, and then there's a kind of a tan color, and then a white color, and then red, tan, red, white, and again, I'm not sure what's going on, but this is gibberish, and this is legible. The text on the top is got a little bit of sort of touching colors on the face and on the hands, but mostly they're solid, light-colored filling of this vessel. This is a beautiful, beautiful calligraphy, but it's completely monochrome. And this is the vessel where this person is speaking, and they see the little speech bubble connecting. This guy is speaking, and his speech bubble seems to go to this text. And I guess this speech bubble is connecting these two bits of text. But again, this is a monochrome. I'm not sure where this style comes from, but it's the red painted guys with the really heavy eyeshadow. There's another vessel that shows a king talking, and the speech bubble actually comes from the mirror. So the mirror is speaking. This is a party scene with a clown and a couple of people getting drunk. These are liquor vessels, and the text here is dark red. This is probably from Naranjo, because when you see dark red glyphs with yellow, with light red insides, that's a Naranjo style. This is a fabulous text. I'm not sure that the one on the top, there's the alai glyph again. The beak of this bird, which is the ah of the alai. The chalk sign is has got a big hollow eye and different colored ear flare. It doesn't even look like the typical chalk ear flare, but this beak is usually orange with a black inset. This is a jaguar. This is actually the name of one of the hero twins. In fact, these are presumably both of these guys are hero twins, but this guy's not marked with the cheek of jaguar skin. But here is his name, Yash Balam, or Shpalanke in Quiche. This is a PSS text. The PSS at the top, across the top. This is a PSS down the side, and here's the same text. Probably these two glyphs are the same, but this one has the monkey face, alai, something, and this is alaya. Maybe that's not an alai, but this glyph is the same, and this glyph is quite. This glyph is different, but multicolored glyphs on this. Itsamnara with a white eye and the two hero twins with multicolored bodies. This is this famous regal rabbit vase. He's standing on a stone altar. This is a mountain glyph he's standing on. He's brownish with different shades of brown. The guy he's stolen the clothes from, the God N, I think. Yeah, this is God D and this is God N. So God N is talking here. He's complaining that the rabbit stole my clothes, and God N's again got word balloons. And the texts here are
It's God L.
God L. My mistake. God L. That he stole the clothes from. My apologies. So the rabbit's taunting poor old God L, and here's God L appealing to God D, who is shielding the rabbit from harm. And these glyphs on the top are big, beautiful PSS. The text here is the same color pretty much, except for the red daysign in the date. So again, this is like a codex pot, but it's so rich that it's often classed as polychrome. But it's a particular group of very, very fancy codex style vessels with the red rim. This not sure. This has got a sky band. This looks like the Chama thing, but this is definitely not a Chama text. But it's got the chevrons and so forth. So lots of white eyes, and dark god marks and so forth. These are two vessels, one a black and white color, one a black and white picture of the what's called the liner series of the codex style vessels, with an icon of, in this case, a war god, repeated with a PSS. Pretty simple, light colored, but this is all monochrome. It's all made with the same paint. Here it's watered down. Here it's watered down more. This is the yellowish background. I think that's probably the natural color of the pot. But this is various shades of brown inside a brown outline in this particular workshop, which is probably Nakbe, although there were codex style vessels made in Kalakmul. I want to ask Dory about whether different groups of different icons were from the different places of the pots that she's analyzed. But in any case, the sea glyph has a brownish outline. The mirror glyph, the alai glyph, the alai glyph here has got a light colored mirror with a slightly darker colored body. So they're being very subtle about their color scheme here, but it's pretty much monochrome, and they're using much richer colors in their the icons of these god faces. This is another codex style vessel that shows two. Again, it's a black and white picture, so you have to infer that these are different shades of brown in the text and different shades of brown on their bodies against a very, very light background of these scribes. There's the whole vessel with a dwarf that we saw from Naranjo. Let's see. These are not pots anymore. Okay. There's an alai glyph in context, and there's a step glyph in context. These are both from isolated glyphs, so it shows that the word is not exclusively used in primary standard sequences. Is that right? This is the alai glyph in down here that is in this fragment from the hilltop village that's going into the cement mixer. This is
Tortuguero.
Tortuguero, starts with a toe. Thank you. So this is a fragment that's in New York City, in the metropolitan, and I was again looking for the alai glyph, which is used here in a different context. It's whatever. Alai means something like here, and it's like here's a date. So they're beginning a sentence with here, and beautiful chalk with the fin on his cheek and the infix of whatever that curlicue is in his face. Here's a primary standard sequence on a Bonaparte mural. We see, I think, two people are wearing dresses, are wearing skirts that have a PSS, but they're monochrome. The people are polychrome, and the glyphs are often on different colored blocks of background. This is on the blue, some are on white, some are on a different color. But the skirts that show are just alai tabai. There's another one, alai tabai. Is that tabai? Maybe it's not. Anyway, the alai glyph is pretty much the same here. Oh, me and Mike Coe. That's the end. So that's that. I'm going to stop share here for a second.
All righty. Thank you, Mark. That was very good.
I have a couple more things to show you, but mainly they're like the thing behind me.
Uh-huh.
This is when I was studying the primary standard sequence. This was before Justin Kerr's base database went online. And
Wow.
so they're all Xeroxed out of. These are all Naranjo PSSs. And so I was studying the text of these and comparing them from Naranjo and from the codex style glyphs. And I have two others from other places. But let me go back to share and show you the other tables that I have done. So What do you see on this page?
Oh, we
A desktop with a lot of items, I hope.
program your PhDs and
Sorry, let me go back to the stuff share. I don't know how to navigate this share thing. Okay, the Finder. This is what I wanted to here. So this is my little set of. Can you see the desktop with lots of folders? Yes.
right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is a folder of primary standard sequences, and in the Elzot's. Let's see what happens. Can you see the Elzot's hieroglyphs?
Yes.
Okay, so these are all the red background vases from Elzot's, and then this is a. Can I blow this up? Oh, there. So can you see the close up of the vase?
No.
Oh, damn it! What a pain in the ass. Okay.
You'd probably have to open it itself in Preview or Photoshop or something, but
Do you see 18 small icons?
yeah, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Yep.
Okay, so I can show you some details by blowing them up. So these are all from the same site, and this is how I compared the color schemes that they used in. If they're small, they tend to be monochrome. If they're large, they tend to be polychrome. But using the red background vase color schemes, as even the black and white, you can see the color scheme is the one we saw, and so there are several dozen from that workshop, especially these. There's enough copies. These are all copies of what do you call it? Y processions. So there's 3 Ys here with a little text identifying each one. Here's 3 more Ys. Here's 4 Ys. And I actually took all these Y texts, which were probably all copied from the same codex, and I reconstructed a codex. Basically we're seeing just 1 or 2 pages from this codex. So I made a little a version. There's 2 versions of this one, but you can see these are all Y processions, and they all have very similar primary standard sequences that are colored, and the labels that are identifying them. This is a deer monkey that is the Y of this place, and this is some sort of rodent that's the Y of some other place. And we could do a whole thing on all the different Ys. Has anyone done a talk on Ys? I mean,
not really, Mark. We got people wanting to ask questions, and we're coming up on 2 hours. So
shut up. Okay. Yes, let's ask questions. So these are all the folders of various. When I have 124 vases with monochrome texts, but the ones that are polychrome, I'll show you the polychrome folder if I can. Here it is. So when I found, now are you seeing the inside of a folder here?
Yes.
Okay. So every one of these glyphs has some color on it besides the glyph itself and the background. So for instance, this has a little bit of that's hardly any color. I could blow these up individually, but I'm just going to skip through it. And so these are the red background vessels. There's a sort of spotty color scheme. There's another color scheme that's got red spots on the faces. This is a real early vessel from Tikal, and that's as big as I can get it, I think. But you can see that the fish has the waw is brown, the top of the fish is brown, the date, the number 9, not a date, the 9, whatever it is, the 9th king here, the initial series glyph. These are all multicolored, and this is a pretty interesting vessel. This is from Tikal, and there's a whole series of vessels that have 2 glyphs actually, this has three glyphs. This has a brown colored glyph, a blue colored glyph, and an uncolored glyph. Brown, two browns, blue and uncolored, two browns, blue and uncolored. And then the text on the side, one of them is colored, but the rest are plain. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on with these vessels that have glyphs that are double the same color.
Yeah, I dug up that vase in 1965 at age 19.
You got what?
I dug up that vase you just showed. I'm the one that discovered that tomb. That one right there. I was 19 years old. That was my Harvard undergraduate thesis.
So this is a Tikal vase?
No. The one with a hummingbird, the one with a white background.
Sure. I'm sorry. Where was that? The hummingbird vase.
Yeah, the hummingbird vase.
Hummingbird vase. I apologize for losing it. There it is.
Right. That's the one I dug up. That was the richest tomb ever found in Tikal. He was the son of ruler A. He was not ruler B. He was another son of ruler A. And this tomb had more stuff in it than the tomb of ruler A. And that was my Harvard thesis. It's all online.
Okay, I'm going to share this since there it is. You didn't see this when I blew it up, but now you can see it, right?
Yeah. I dug that up.
So there's two glyphs that are multicolored. This one's got blue paint. This one's plain. Two multicolored, blue, plain. I don't know what's going on with this color scheme, but they started to do multicolored glyphs here, and then they gave up for the rest, or something. And I just wanted to show you that there's still an enormous amount of work to be done in these. Sorry, I want to unshare this. Am I back to the screen?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. So questions.
Well, we've had some people commenting, going along and saying the site that something would come from. Erica's contributed a lot, and she's in Belgium. And Patty has been supplying some links. If everybody wants to open your shop, there's a couple links that have been provided that might be pertinent to this talk.
Okay.
K1383 is from Rio Azul.
Okay, K1383, thank you very much for that.
And John Daigle was impressed with the many stucco paint fragments that have survived and are left exposed to the elements of Tony Na. He provides a link. I remember seeing little pieces of painted stucco at Mayapan, and somewhere else I was, the top of Caracol or someplace, little pieces of the red paint were just falling down. I think I probably put one in my pocket, but I was amazed too how it just falls, falls all over the place. Also at
are you talking wall paint or vessel paint?
Probably wall paint. Yeah, wall paint. It just would fall. The stucco would fall off. Exactly. And I also, both times at Teotihuacan, it seems like they have so much stuff that they find that they'll end up along a new walkway. They'll dump baskets full of little pieces of murals and obsidian and stuff like that. Always interesting to look at.
Where were these baskets?
Teotihuacan.
You're talking about people finding them and leaving them in baskets, or?
No, they around trees before you would have grass, all nicely manicured. It was like they would throw baskets full of all these little fragments. And I remember one time there was like a wall there, and there was a Mexican guard with a rifle. And I looked up at him, and he smiled down at me, and I just gave him a thumbs up back, and he gave me a thumbs up back. So they're there for people to pick up, So
the Tony Na Palace of Frets. Wow. I'm just clicking on the link that somebody sent us so questions. I thank you for the Rio Azul. Thank you for the identifications of things. I'm so interested in the visuals, and I just sometimes names escape me.
Yeah. Erica She suspects many of them are, she's sorry, how can you be sure of the origins of the pots in your database? Most of them, if not, were all looted, and not every inscription has e.g. And then Richard Hanson tuned in and said, I suspect that many of them were tested with neutron activation. Most reliable testing, providing the local clays were sampled too.
Well, in answer to that question, I did not check the neutron activation data on these things. I was simply going by style. And the Buena Vista vase was found at Buena Vista del Cayo, but it's clearly the same style as we saw from Naranjo. Is that the nearby big site? And although not all the codex style plates vessels are from Knock Bay, a great number of them are, and I know that some of them. I have a feeling that some of the vessels that were found in Calakmul that are codex style were made with codex style clay. I mean, it was literally somebody taking a ball of clay with him all the way to Calakmul to make one of his favorite vessels. Either that, or it was shipped there. There was a trade item. And yes, you're absolutely right. I don't know. I was identifying them by style. Erica, I apologize for saying this is from such and such. This isn't. I call the style name by the ones that we do have identified. And there's obviously a lot of trade, and that's something that I haven't done enough research on, but somebody else has done more than I have. I'd like to hear from them about. Let's see. The vessel, the book about painted vessels. What's it called?
Dory.
Not Dory's book. The book I'm spacing out not only in the title of the book but also on the author's name. She's teaching in Ottawa or Montreal, and she wrote a book called Figurines, I think. She wrote a book about figurines, and so she did a lot of
Christina Halpern.
Yeah. Halpern, what's her name?
Halpern, Christina Halpern. She was a student here at FSU, so I'm very proud of all she's done, including that book.
Yes, thank you, Mary. And yeah, Christina Halpern has done a great deal of identifying two figurines made from the same mold 100 miles apart to show the kind of trade that they had between places. And there's several maps that in her book that show the find sites of a specific type of mold-made vessel, a mold-made figurine.
Yeah, I think Christina directs the investigations at, is it Ucanal, down on the Belizean border with Guatemala? Yeah, Ucanal. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
And when Michelle pairs your presentation with the recent LACMA exhibit on the use of colors in Mesoamerica, it makes her wonder if you have come to think of color itself as a form of language, at least within the context of these ancient cultures.
Oh, I think that there's color is one of the features of the world that is highly charged with meaning, right? I'm feeling blue today. I'm green with envy, right? This sort of the color language is probably very rich in every culture, and of course there's books on the history of color, the history of the names of colors in different cultures of the world, and the history of the discovery of different pigments. The cave paintings are black and brown and a little bit of white, and shades of earth tones. And as pigments became available, the color language got richer. Hokusai, the Japanese printmaker, his wave at Kanagawa was part of a series that was advertised specifically as using a new color to Japan, which was Prussian blue that had been imported to Japan for the first time, and in the 1850s, I guess. And so colors get discovered and they become fashionable, and they make a big and what are the rainbow? Does anybody here see indigo when you look at blue jeans? Right? You call them blue jeans, you don't call them indigo jeans, but it's dyed with indigo, and that was a color that in the Victorian period people distinguished from purple and blue.
Right.
And the Aztecs have a green and a blue distinction that they use in their color directions, but the Maya don't. And the whole idea of distinguishing color, there's a lot of that's a rich vein to be mined.
Hey Jim, I had a follow-up to Michelle's question, and Mark actually just touched on it a bit. Big fan of your work, Mark. But since we're on the subject, there was a blue-green color convention towards the beginning of the presentation, and I wanted to get your opinion on specifically. We'll touch on blue-green first.
Okay.
Denote could it possibly denote, as far as color meaning goes, as what Michelle's talking about, denote the sanctity of language, the concept of sanctity?
Yeah,
And I
great.
bring that up because in the Popol Vuh, language is the defining quality of humankind that separates humanity from the rest of creation in the Popol Vuh, to the creative forces. And so many glyphs, even the tablet of the 96 glyphs at Palenque, I believe, was originally colored blue-green. I think I got that from Katie Knuckles' SASA presentation.
Uh-huh.
So that's a lot of glyphs in blue and green. So I think my hunch is that maybe certain city-states thought it could denote that kind of divine quality, or the divine linguistic and artistic quality of humanity. But also throughout your presentation, there are some exceptions to this, like the codex style, the uba pink vase style, and the orange colors. But a lot of those colors corresponds to Maya directional correspondences,
Sure.
like black is west, south is yellow, red is east, and white being north. To parry off of what Michelle said, is it possible, and how you said day signs were implemented as a linguistic layer outside of dating, could directional color, but also could directional meaning be an additional linguistic layer?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not a linguist, but I see the use of language, and I noticed, the cap on all these guys is the blue green, right? On all these glyphs of those godheads. I skipped right over it. I was going to save it. All of the hieroglyphs, right? The little monkey face with the two eyes and the mouth. That's always painted red stripe, white, white, right? I mentioned this, but it's turned upside down. It's a law. It's the same colors. You have it in the hieroglyph. That this two signs. One of them is painted like that. That I did. I guess I did mention that. But that strikes me as very interesting. That's the only glyph whose colors don't follow the lines of the glyph as it was drawn. The white stripe and the border between the red and the white is not. There's no line. There's no ink lines to separate them. Whereas and it's very, very consistent. And I think we found another example of that. I also noted, by the way, that sometimes the corners of eyes, like we saw the corners of eyes in Mixtec glyphs are frequently red, although it's specific to that manuscript more than anything else. But I found 3 or 4 examples of the red eyes, like the Rio Azul mask has corners of his eyes are red, right? There's a lot of even early classic glyphs which have eyes painted with a red corner. Go figure. And the meanings of, like you said, correlating the green cap, the blue green cap with godliness is very likely, and yet the sky is not blue. That's an interesting feature to me.
Mark, I thought I'd just mention real quick that on the issue of blue green,
Yeah.
that on the serpent number pages, which you know so well, in the Dresden Codex, you have era day inscriptions, the beginning of the Maya long count, and the pre-era inscriptions are highlighted in blue. And one of the reasons I think they're highlighted in blue is because they're indicating a submerged world. Because the expressions for addition in the Dresden Codex is that the numbers enter into the water. So these pre-era expressions are counts, but they're actually diving into the water. And it's also a way for them to segregate pre-era and then post-era inscriptions, so the pre-era are highlighted in blue. So, as part of this watery, submerged underworld, but also addition is also related to this metaphorical expression of the numbers literally go into the water before they're counted. So almost like a rite of passage. So anyways, I thought I mentioned that on the highlighting of those in the serpent number pages and one other, always the pre-era passages are highlighted in blue.
I did not notice that. Thanks for bringing that to my attention.
Sure.
I didn't get around to trying to find meaning in the Dresden Codex, but there's a lot of colors used. The black and red numbers are, this is a distance number and this is a date. This is a distance number and this is a date, that sort of thing. But that what should I say? There's a lot of work to be done, a lot of meaning to be wrung out of these things. I want to make a point that I was surprised and impressed by how distinctive the color use was in different schools of writing. That like the Codex style, they're trying to reduce it all to one shade of one pigment in different shades, and I'd also like to know if is Dory still here? If the Snooter activation of the Kalak-Mul Codex style vases and the Codex style vases from Nakbe, if those are make a difference in whether they color the details in the glyphs, because some of those Codex style glyphs are shaded and some of them are not, and I've not done a distribution of which ones are and which ones aren't.
Mark, I might make a point there. Dory and Ron have done a lot of the codex material from the entire basin.
Yeah.
The Kalak-Mul Mirador Basin has been pretty well heavily sampled.
Cool.
And for example, the codex vase of Yoknum the Great in Temple 2 at Kalak-Mul was definitely from Nakbe. They're not hauling clay from Nakbe. It was made at Nakbe and transported to Kalak-Mul.
I see
But
that.
but there are definite the clays at Kalak-Mul do correspond with a lot of the codex stuff that was found in the Acropolis.
Okay.
So they were making it all in the same style. What's curious though is that there is no codex vessels being produced outside the borders of the basin, the natural borders, unless you get those weird types like you get the weird types over on the eastern side with the black rims, kind of a thing,
Right. I call them pseudo codex.
Right. That's right.
But what you're saying is that Kalak-Mul's also in the basin.
Yeah, of course. Yes, all into the same system.
Ah,
All into the same system.
okay.
Yeah,
I wanted to
Dory,
comment on the Blom vase. Can I comment?
Comment on Blom base, yes.
Yeah, okay. The Blom vase was found about 1949 in Chetumal when the engineers bulldozed an entire Maya site to build the airport. And the mayor and the alcalde and all those people, they got the jade, and the engineer who was from the United States got the Blom plate. Blom found it and photographed it. And when I was writing my PhD dissertation, I wanted to have a color photograph of it. So I spent 5 years finding where it was. 5 years to find out where the Blom plate was. And I went, it was in Oaxaca. The guy had retired and moved to Oaxaca. So I went down and photographed it. And then he asked me, well, Nicholas, what should I do with it? I mean, you're enjoying it. You want the plate, I said, no, it's National Heritage of Mexico. And he immediately donated it to INA, and it's traveled around in several museums in Mexico. So again, that plate was lost from Blom, I think in 1952, published it, until I spent 5 years finding that plate. I had to drive from the United States to Mexico. I drove down once with my full photo studio, and the guy had moved from where he was told he was. So I had to spend 2 more years to find where he really was. Then I drove down again with a whole photo studio and photographed it for my PhD dissertation. So, when you want to do something, you do what it takes to do it. But I'm very proud that I got it donated to the museums in Mexico.
Yeah,
Really?
that's great. Carl, do you want to ask your question about the gods and the colors and the?
Oh, well, yeah, just basically, Mark, do you know of any Maya gods that might be closely associated with colors? What comes to mind is Sibikte, the patron of the month Posh, right? He has
Yeah.
a close association with dark, black, sooty paint,
Yeah.
right? Do you know of any other gods that might have close associations or just general conceptions? I was thinking about the Aztec expression of the gods of the red and the black, right? Which red and the black refer to writing. Can you
Right.
think of any gods or any expressions that typify, that refer specifically to certain colors?
I don't know enough literature. Let me say, I've done a lot of reading of literature, but nothing springs to mind that answers your question about that. I just know that the Kawils in Burial 195 were blue.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Kawil on the plate was blue, green, or whatever. And I'm trying to think if I is there a colored picture of Kawil in the Dresden Codex? I don't think any of the color pictures features him. There's a few colored pictures where the guys are shooting on the Venus pages.
Mm-hmm.
So there's color pictures of several gods and dogs and things like that, but I don't think Khalil's included in those. And I can't think of other images of him that I have seen in color. For instance, but perhaps there's, of course, the Aztecs had different colors for different directions too. But I'm thinking of a lot of the Aztec images are very, very rich in color. So I guess we should ask Diana that question.
Yeah. And Solomon, I'm not sure if you intend to ask Richard Hansen or Mark, but could the connection of the codex style between Calakmul and the basin also be connected via the Snake King's lineage from pre-classic to classic period? I don't know if Richard would be talking about Calakmul.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, thank you. Yes, we think there is a direct link there. For example, the name of Calakmul is never Khan. The kings called themselves the Kanu lords, yes, but the name of Calakmul was Chignab, and or on occasion Oshtetun. But the kings still referred themselves as snake lords. And I think it was, Stan Gunter and I are convinced that they're referring to an ancient legacy, their ancestral legacy, which is farther south. Geographically and geologically, it's all in the same basin. Calakmul is in the same basin as Mirador, but because of the Bajo de Laberinto, there's a lot fewer sites on the northern side than farther south. And these guys are painting. We have codex material from Tintal. We have codex material from Nakbe, codex material from Mirador, codex material from Calakmul. We have codex material from Balakbal. So there's these codex materials are appearing inside the basin. That's where they're looks like they're painting it. And then if they're outside the basin, it's pretty sure that they were exported or gifts or some kind of an export. So yeah, I think this was the codex style is a reference, and we still think, for example, we have at La Muerta, we have I think one of the earliest references to a snake lord engraved in bedrock. So and
I was going to ask you about.
yeah, that's Kahulkanahao in bedrock. It's not an imported bedrock, right?
How big is that glyph on that in that bedrock
About the
inscription?
size of your computer screen.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
It's big, yeah.
And
And it's when I was first excavated, we've got great photographs of it. I noticed Tomas Barrientos made the claim it's poorly preserved and can't see it well. You can see it clear as a bell. Those teeth are in there. The shading over the eye is in there. The apo how suffix is in there. So it's these are this is most likely a toponym for the basin. Now we find it also we find it in the tomb one at Tintal. We find the little snake glyph and the how carved in jade. So it looks like it might have been a reference to the entire system as a snake polity. And then the kings of Calakmul, nearly 800 years later, assumed those titles.
Richard, if I'm not mistaken, that screen-sized emblem glyph has the how, what should I say, affix, the superfix. I
Right.
think there's a snake in there, isn't it? Isn't there a little snake sticking out
No,
of that?
the head's the snake.
The head's a snake. Okay.
But it has the kuhul on the side. It has the water
Yeah,
kuhul
yeah.
glyph on the side. So the kuhul kana how is what it's saying.
Okay.
And I mean, and David Stewart made a claim once in an SAA that he didn't think it was a snake glyph. But I'll tell you, give me what it would be then with
So
with the hatched orbit over the eye and the teeth coming down on all sides. It's I'm convinced it is the snake glyph. Stan Gunter's convinced it's the snake glyph, and every other picographer that's actually been out and seen is convinced it's the snake glyph too. So it's we're pretty convinced that the ancient name of the basin, was probably Kun.
Hey, Mark, have you been on scene yet?
on scene where?
In El Mirador.
Yes. I was just I was there for a month last summer and the summer before.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Richard, I'm the teacher of glyphs for when they find some substantial inscriptions, they'll know how to read them.
All right.
We're working towards. Plus, I wanted to mention that Richard gave me the job of digging out a house last summer, and in the fill, I found a little piece of Codex style pottery in Mirador itself, in the late classic Pitaya complex. And there have been bits and pieces of it found all over.
Yeah.
It's obvious to us though, based on the dates on the pots and the context of this material, that it's almost exclusive between 680 and 740 AD.
Yeah.
That's the only time we find that. And that's why you find in a lot of the late classic groups, you'll find it in the fill and in the rubble. You won't find it in the buildings because it's that specific period of time. If you have after 740 AD, if you have a construction, it won't be on the in the remains. It'll be in the fill or in the trash heaps beside it, you know.
All right. Well, as much as we'd like to continue, has gone kind of long, and I'm worried about the K will be too much for my 200 megabyte cloud storage. But
Glad your computer worked through this. Mine too.
quickly the column title, is that like a person in charge of a whole region? I mean, there's the Eastern Columte and the West Southern, and were they contemporary in time, like the date range Richard just gave? But I mean, why all of a sudden did it appear in the classic that there was this level of a title of a person?
I always associated Columte with something like conqueror.
Oh, really?
That it meant somebody who had a site, or a site that has dominance over another site.
Huh.
And on the dynasty vases, there's only two of the lords that have the columnate title. The
Oh, really?
second lord and the 19th lord. The 19th Ahau. Those are the only two that have that column T title, and it's consistent. At Nanajo, you've got a female column T.
Oh, I was going to ask that too. Okay.
So there, you and I agree with it. It's something like Lord of Lords or King of Kings or Conqueror of Conquerors. It's a special title for somebody that goes out and does something pretty spectacular on a regional scale.
On a regional, yeah.
Well, I can offer a linguistic analysis of it, if you can hear me. Yeah. In fact, I've got a paper in the works. I've kind of put it aside for a while, working on something else. But the root is kal. It means to do or make. And I have found it now in both branches of Cholin. It's been known for a while to be in Cholti, but we were always uncertain about whether the K was glottalized or not. But I found it in Chontal. You have to look at a lot of phrases to be able to tease it out. You're not going to find it straight away in a dictionary, but I'm confident that it's there. The root means to make or do. The om suffix is an agentive, kalom, one who does. And I think this doing is a metaphysical doing. And the axe of chach is the tool for the job. And so it's ultimately a shamanic title, a title of metaphysical power, one who does. The te refers to the axe, the handle of the axe.
And by that, Barb, you mean like the big doer, right?
That's right.
The big one. The one who
And on that note, who here knows the name of the big doer in Yucatec, the traditional Maya shaman?
Ahmen.
Ahmen, which means
The doer.
the doer, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
It's a different language, but I think it's a calque. I think it's the same concept, which is cross-linguistic boundaries.
Movers and shakers.
the one who gets it done.
So yeah, again, Petr Biro and I are working on, and we've kind of put it aside because we're working hard right now on Copan Stila E. But we do intend to return to it. The slideshow is about 2/3 finished, and I hope we'll find some place to share it.
Well, I've got you scheduled for what, next August or so? You have a lot of time to prepare.
Oh, what am I talking about in August? Did I say?
You know,
Anything you say, Barbara, I want to hear.
the last program we were at, you were like, remind me. So
Okay. Oh, yeah. You have to remind me
reminding
sometime in
you.
the summer. Well, I could talk about Column at that time. I could also, at that point, perhaps Pete and I would be ready to talk about Copan Stila E, which has turned out to be just a magnificent headbanger. But we've made enormous headway. We've found some really spectacular stuff in there through our diligence. So yeah, it could be one or the other of those topics or something else. Is it August or is it later? Am I down for August?
Not sure, my computer.
Because that might be, I may be in Idaho in August. I'm gonna have to. We have to double check
It
those
might be
dates.
later because I think you chose later, maybe because of Idaho. But
I think, well, at that time I hadn't committed to Idaho, but I have now. If you could let me know, especially if it's later, later would be better.
I can't let you know until after the 15th when I get my new computer set up and I can
Okay.
access.
No, after the 15th of December is fine.
I hopefully access my separate hard drive. That's where I have my up and coming programmers list.
Well, I might have written it down. Let's see. I keep a calendar sort of for 2026. But I haven't got anything written down for that later period in next year. But sure, I'd be happy. I'm just saying there might be a conflict in August.
Yeah, well, yeah, we could always change it. Well, once I get to see my list, I'll remind you what it was. And if we have to change it, we can do it.
Okay.
Alrighty, so great program, Mark. Thank you so much. And I want to thank everybody for showing up. We had people from all over, New Zealand, Belgium, the UK,
Guatemala.
And it's really great to see everybody. So hopefully there'll be a recording and we'll go from there. So thanks once again, Mark.
Well, thank you all for showing up, and thanks for what I say, all your sharing of this great knowledge and enthusiasm. It's so enriching. I miss going to meetings, and I understand that there's no Maya meeting in Texas this year. Did I hear that?
It has not been announced, but I've not heard that it's not going to happen. It's just we're
Well,
getting a little late in the year.
I've heard that it's being moved to the fall instead of the spring.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they don't compete with the two-lane symposium, so that you have one each semester. At least that's what I've
Okay.
heard.
Well, we've been kind of toggling against the two-lane symposium forever, but I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
So when is it going to be moved to? You're talking about the fall, like September, October, something like that?
I have not heard anything about it, but I
Well,
haven't really inquired.
we will find out. I'd heard that since the or what is David Stewart's lab there called, the directress, the woman that ran it, has retired.
Astrid. Yeah, Astrid.
Astrid, and so he hasn't found a decent replacement for her. Not that he ever will. She's so good.
Well, she's moved into a full-time professorial position, so she's here, but very busy with other things.
Oh, good on. Good on.
And, no, I'm sure that I mean I'm sure that these issues will be solved.
Yeah.
And even though I'm right here in Austin, I'm not necessarily on the first line of information, as I'm caught up in my own little cocoon here.
And Alex, you're in Canada now, or?
I'm still in DC.
Oh, DC, not.
Well, just south of DC in Alexandria, but the DC area.
And when you mentioned the fall for the Maya meetings, do you have any other? I mean,
No, I just heard this from David Stewart when he did his glyph workshop for the Koba exhibit in DC recently. That because I was asking him about that, and he said that they're moving it to the fall. So I guess the fall of 2026 will be the next one. I'm not entirely sure because I think they're still figuring it out as well.
Well, thank you, Alex. And with that, I shall end the program. Thanks once again, Mark.
Well, thank you all. Take care.
Very
Thank you,
educational.
Mark. Good night.
Thank you, Mark. And thanks for watching this Aztlander presentation. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. To subscribe to free monthly issues of the Aztlander Magazine of the Americas, contact your host, Jim Reed, at jimreedmaya@gmail.com. Thanks again.